Hi, and welcome to the Natural PC Network. Thank you for joining today's telecast on our network. We provide information and worthy news from worthy people inside our network. Sit back, listen up, and enjoy the conversation. And now, let's welcome our host, L. Thomas Faison.
Hey, and welcome to the Natural PC Network. I am your host, L. Thomas Faison, and our special guest today is the 2020 INBF Carolina Natural PC Men's Physique Runner-Up Tall Class. Let's welcome Justin Hudson. What's happening, Justin?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Welcome to our post-show interview.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be on.
Yes, sir. So, first of all, congratulations on your placing in 2020.
Appreciate that.
Not a problem, man. So, your physique, October 24th, 2020 was quite impressive. We do want to get into how long it took you to build your physique, but first of all, from your perspective, what was it like competing in 2020?
Man, and actually I was supposed to do a show earlier on in the year, but everything got shut down, especially where I was at in California. No gym access, nothing like that for the longest time. It was just definitely difficult staying focused and ended up building some type of home gym in my place just to stay sane and all those other things. And especially, being on stage, like with the mask on and all those other things, I definitely should have practiced with that.
Yeah.
Although I think I knew that prior to that, but I didn't do it. So
gotcha.
Yeah, that's on me. But it was definitely really difficult and hard to really stay focused and not knowing like what gym you're going to go to, or, the times were shortened. So if you had to do double cardio or whatever and get a workout in, I mean, that's a short day. So then your fatigue level is higher, because usually if I can finish my cardio, say at start at 9 or 10 or whatever, the gym's closing at 8.
Yeah.
I'm doing 2-3 sessions before 8 o'clock, and 2 is okay, but 3, it's a lot, especially with sauna and all the other stuff. So
I got you. Yeah, it seems like you pretty much know how to dial it in. So when the world shut down, were you in contest mode, or were you just coming off an off season?
So I was basically coming off an off season, but I literally started prep, I think 2 weeks prior to that. So It was going to be a 16-weeker. So I wasn't too deep. Food wasn't too bad yet, but yeah, everything just shut down and it was just crazy. Definitely pretty difficult. So
yeah. So doing your preparation for the show, by the way, how many shows had you planned on or anticipated competing in 2020?
I was thinking about doing at least 2. I was trying to maybe even 3 or 4, because, I also compete in the NPC.
Okay.
So the show I was going to prepare for was an NPC show. I actually think it was called Battle of Vegas, and then re-qualify for nationals, and then hopefully do a national show. But then also, I love natural bodybuilding and I love the WNBF, and I wanted to do a show, to qualify as a pro there, just because, my first show was in the WNBF, and I just really want that pro card, because I just feel like I just need to dial it in all the way, and I definitely feel like I have what it takes. I just need to come in that condition. That's basically it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, your physique was very, very impressive, man. So how were you able to stay focused, motivated, and stay driven, given the roll call of the number of shows that you wanted to do, but you were only able to compete a few times? How did you stay driven?
I'm always a driven person, but to be honest, some distractions really got in the way. So I maybe wasn't as driven as I have been prior to that, to be honest. But, once I got close, just having a support system and having people that come to your shows and stuff like that. Like my parents, my sister, pretty much have been to every show except for, I did Worlds actually in California. They were there for that. And I did Junior Nationals in Chicago. But, just having people that support you there, you don't want to let them down, you want to show up and show out, for them. So that's how I stay focused generally, so.
Absolutely. So you said that you competed with the WNBF. Was that your first show?
Yeah. So my first show ever was the Iron Eagle down in Savannah, Rodney.
Rodney Hilaire is the promoter. Rodney's
yes, sir. Yep. So 2018.
Okay.
So skinny, man. You don't know until you know. And I just, basically how I got into go into that, how I got into bodybuilding in general was I had no idea men's physique even existed.
Okay.
And so I think late 2017, because I always was a fan, I watched Phil Heath kind of come up, Brandon Curry's of the world, stuff like that. And I was never going to be that big, right? I was like, I can't be an open bodybuilder. So I kind of just, I bought all the magazines, all this other stuff, kind of put that away, right? I'm like, it's just not me, right? And then I see actually Brandon Hendrickson. And I was like, this dude's, well, they're big now, but I was like, man, these guys they're not huge, they're not crazy big. They're wearing board shorts. That's a little bit different, but I could do that, and that's how it happened, and I did like a 30-day prep, ended up getting 5th place my first show. I'm in the tall class, pretty tough class. But yeah, no, ever since then I was hooked, But yeah, that was my first show ever. It was a natural show because I was kind of told like, maybe don't go to the NPC just yet.
Right.
Maybe be careful for that. So.
Yeah, man. And you have a very impressive backstory. I know you talked a little bit about, your fitness and exercise, but I want to kind of dig in a little bit more. First of all, you're a certified CPA in 2 states, Georgia and California. So that in itself is impressive. And then you have a background in martial arts. We'll definitely get into that. And then, just you talking about how you got into bodybuilding, specifically men's physique. At age 17, how much did you weigh?
Straight there, huh? And I was like 130, man.
Okay.
130, and I've literally been the same height since like almost 8th grade. So I was like 6 foot, 130.
Okay.
Soaking wet.
Right.
Running the 4 and the 800 in track, man. Skinniest cat on the block, man.
Yeah, and you were a long distance runner, right?
Yep, I did the 4 and the 800. I remember I used to beg the coach, hey man, put me on the sprints, man. Put me on the 2 and the 1. It's like, have you looked at yourself?
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
But
and then at that time, had you sprouted up? Because how tall are you right now?
I'm 6 foot right now. I haven't really grown since high school, basically. I mean, like early high school. Pretty much been 5'11" since I was like, people thought I was gonna be like good at basketball and stuff. When I was like in 8th grade, it's like, nah, dude, just didn't materialize that way. So I've been this height for a while,
So talk to us about putting in the work. I mean, you told us how much you weighed at 17. What did it take to put the work in to get to where you are now?
Early on, man, these kids these days, they live in the social media area where they want to be as shredded as possible. They want to post on their Snapchats and things like that, being ripped. I just wanted to put on size, by any means necessary. So I would eat whole chickens, potatoes and carrots. My mom used to make it like a separate one, like literally for me. I would eat Pop-Tarts and protein bars in class. Like my teacher, me and my teacher were cool. Like literally Miss Glody, like 3rd period, I would eat, that was like my second meal, Pop-Tarts and protein bars. At lunch, I would stack up on chocolate milk. I was just eating.
Okay.
People don't want to eat. You gotta eat. And that's what it was. And also, I'm the body type where I do stay leaner in general, but I can put on mass if the calories are there. So I didn't do a ton of research, but I just knew it was calories. And it was fairly good calories, stuff like that. So, but it was eating. And then even at an early age, I was eating 5 meals a day.
Wow.
But it was, going to the gym, starting out actually in, when we first moved here to outside of Atlanta from Memphis, we had an apartment because we still had a house in Memphis.
Okay.
So the apartment had a gym. It was the best thing for me because I didn't have a car at the time. And there was literally, I think, there was a chest press and a chest fly, and I think a lat pull down. And I just hammered them. And I put on, I might have put on 15 pounds just there. And then eventually I went to the gym down the road. It's actually, I still go to it now. It's a Crunch now, but it used to be called the Forum. That was my first gym, and I put in the work there,
Wow.
So, didn't focus on just the protein shakes, this and that. I did take weight gainers, but, it was just whole foods, man. People stray away from that nowadays. Everyone wants, what supplements do you take? All this other stuff is like, I ate. That's what I did. I just ate. So, and I put the work in too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I mean, the other thing about your fitness and exercise and health background is you have background in martial arts. Talk to us about that.
I I kind of fell into it, man. You know, I was always a fan of like BJ Penn and the George St. Pierre's of the world, even before I started working out. But then to get my PE class, my credit for college, you know, I actually took mixed martial arts. I fell in love with it. And the guy told me, he was like, you know, if you really like this, we'll give you a discount on like the monthly fees or whatever. And after the first month, I was just hooked. So I would start training full time, you know, down there every day, you know, doing, you know, either it was Muay Thai classes or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with the gi on, or it'd be no gi, you know, just putting in the work there. So, you know, at that time, I think I was like 185 down from like 199 the prior year. But
wow,
some of the best shape I've ever been in my life. As crazy as I always got put in the big category, I'm 185, right? You know, I would fight at welterweight at the time. Right. And I'd be fighting, you know, wrestling heavyweights, you know, these firefighters, these cops. Like, I'm 19 years old, rear naked choking these firemen who are like 60 pounds more than me, stuff like that. But people always tell me, oh, like, dang, you're strong. I'm like, I don't even lift right now. I literally do pull-ups and hyperextensions and maybe some shoulder exercises, because you can't lift and train full-time and really, like, you're gonna get beat down basically, you know, and especially with doing all the cardio and stuff like that. So you really wear yourself down. But man, you know, I fell in love with it. And ultimately though, man, I was helping teach this women's class, and on the Muay Thai kicks, you kind of turn one leg out or whatever.
Sure.
And I turned my right leg out, tore my ACL like that. And that was pretty much it as far as, you know, fighting went as a career, because I started to fall in love with it. But also, even before that, what's crazy is my dad was like, look, man, you're too smart to get punched in the face. And I'm like, dang, you have confidence in me? Like, you know, I could be good? Because I think I could be good, because I was always better. I'm not coordinated in the sense of like with something else, like a ball or something like that. Never had great ball skills. But in terms of wrestling and, you know, MMA, I was pretty good, man.
That sounds like wise advice coming from a father that cares about you, my man.
Yeah. Well, you know, he was a CPA too. He does more of like IT M&A, not necessarily what I do from a tax perspective, but, you know, definitely drawed a lot of inspiration from him. And that's why early on I was always an accounting major. So. Gotcha.
How many mixed martial arts fights have you attended yourself?
Oh man. So I've been to 2 in Vegas, 1 in Atlanta, and then 1 in Salt Lake, which was a fight night. But yeah, I've seen 3 pay-per-views. Gosh, 6 title fights, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, man, that's, you know, there's nothing better than being live in person. You know, my favorite one I think definitely was Usman Covington 1. You know, that was. I say 1 because I'll probably fight again, but
sure, exactly.
Man, that was a great one, you know, especially the ending. So
right, and then last question about mixed martial arts, so we can keep rolling with the whole bodybuilding thing. Who's your favorite MMA fighter?
Should have been prepared for this. I'm gonna go GSP, man. I'm gonna go GSP. Yeah, I gotta go. Even with the loss, you know, Jones might be the GOAT, but GSP is my favorite.
I got
so. I gotta go with that.
Gotcha. That's a fair choice.
But watch out for Usman though.
Yeah.
Hey man, because 170 was my weight class. So, you know, GSP is a 170 guy, and especially after what he just did, you know, he's my favorite current fighter. So I'll give you 2. GSP overall, Usman definitely right now, man, because it's undeniable what he's doing.
Kamaru Usman, Nigerian Nightmare. That's my favorite MMA fighter. Yes, sir. So you mentioned about 3 different bodybuilders or people in the sport of bodybuilding. So who did you really grow up following and watching, and to really get yourself locked in? You know,
when I started seeing Ronnie, he was at the end and he was a little too big, you know, but man, Ronnie, going back, doing that research, Ronnie was, man, that dude was good. But, you know, based on like how old I am, really Phil, you know, they call him a gift for a reason. You know, just the insertions, the muscle. It's just a pretty physique, right? You know, yeah, I don't like saying that, but I think it is, you know. So really Phil Heath, especially during his reign, was kind of like, you know, when I was, you know, getting the higher teens in the 20s. So I would say Phil Heath.
Gotcha. So why is it important for you to be a drug-free competitor, and how did your sister inspire you?
You know, my thing with bodybuilding and fitness is we want to be as healthy as possible, right?
Right.
So I would never do something that would compromise that health. I want to always promote a healthy lifestyle. I mean, besides getting really lean for a show, we have to cut some calories.
Right.
That's not maybe the safest, but you know, my sister having cancer, it really just inspires me to avoid, you know, taking PEDs that could compromise my health in any way. Not only because there might be precursors in my family, but also, you know, I would never forgive myself if I got sick or got ill because of a PED for bodybuilding. You know, bodybuilding is a lifestyle for me. Even if I stop competing, I'll probably always weigh out my food. You know, my meat always might be 6 ounces, you know, when I'm done competing, but
right.
There's more to it than, you know, being the biggest and baddest dude. Because do I think that I could be better potentially on PEDs? Absolutely. Especially with my body type, I feel like I'm right there. But I would just never compromise myself to achieve a goal in bodybuilding that way, you know, because with every contest prep, I learn more about myself. You know, you dig deep, and I just don't need PEDs to compete, you know, and if I never go pro in the IFBB or whatever, that's cool. You know, I'm gonna continue to push, continue to do natural shows, continue to do untested shows. And that's just what, you know, that's just my passion. That's, you know, where I'm going with it. So
that's awesome.
But also, you know, like, you know, my mom's health is compromised as well. You know, she had colon cancer. My sister had lymphoma. So I couldn't see the look on, especially my dad's face or, you know, anyone else. Like, dang, man, like they had cancer and you could have caused this to yourself. You know, I could just never live with myself. So.
Sound advice, man. I mean, it's always good to be a drug-free competitor, and then when you compete on a WNBF stage, INBF stage, it's a level playing field as well. So that's
Absolutely.
very, very sound advice. So hey, Justin, what's next, man?
What's next is, you know, I'm doing junior nationals, man. We're like 6.5 weeks out right now. You know, I actually had a show a week and a half ago. You know, I got third.
Okay.
The guy that beat me won the overall. That seems to happen a lot. But the guy that got second, he was sharper than both of us.
Okay.
So
wow.
I have the size, which I still don't think I do sometimes, but I have the size now. It's just all about coming in razor sharp, man, you know, which I've really only done like once, regretfully, but, you know, just come in just as sharp as possible, you know, and then nailing the presentation and the posing and stuff like that. So
Sure.
I know that's something I need to maybe work on, but because, you know, it's like a fight. You close that cage, everything's different. You can practice all you want. You can stare yourself in the mirror, but unless you drill it with your eyes closed 5 times more than you want to, you know, you might not have that end result. So.
Gotcha. And so we talked about your impressive physique at the very beginning. What has it taken you to get there? I mean, you went from, you said 130 at 17, and you're 6 foot, and what's your weight now?
Like 206 right now. Tell you the inside scoop on that. But my last show 1.5 weeks ago, I was like 200 even. I was like 199, 201, something like that. But
right.
I definitely feel like my next stage weight should probably be like 196, 195. But it's just been a grind, you know, actually lately, what's actually taken my physique to the next level, I feel. It started to happen a little bit towards when I did your show. But man, I've been training hard, man. You know, I've been pushing the envelope as far as weights I'm comfortable doing without a spot, you know. For example, I was doing like 95s and 100s on shoulder press.
Wow.
For like, I think I got up to 7 on 100s. No spot, no one to hand me the dumbbells. I know some people who look at that, maybe that's not impressive, but for me, I was stuck on like 80, 85s for the longest time. And I just decided one day, I was like, no, screw the old me. No, I'm done with that. You got to push harder. I need you to push harder. I just told myself, push harder. Like you are stronger than you're coming off.
Right.
And literally, you start to see a little bit of difference. The muscle maturity is coming in there. So I just been training hard, man. And, you know, taking more rest days than I'd like. You know, because I'm the type of guy, you know, I'll go 7 days a week if I'm off season. Because I feel like people overrate rest days sometimes because their diet's a little too restricted.
Right.
If I'm not on prep, I don't need a rest day. I need maybe one of my back days is a pump day more so. It's like more pull downs. But, I mean, what am I hitting? Chest twice with barbell bench? Like, I'm not doing that, right? So it's like, I don't necessarily need all these rest days, So, but on prep, I need up to 2, so, but just going as hard as possible, man. And people say they train hard, but until you train hard, you don't know what training hard is. And I wasn't training hard. I didn't know it until I figured it out, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, it's been really a treat to have a conversation with you. I appreciate you joining us for this post-show interview. I'll let you have the last word, Justin.
Hey, I just appreciate you having me on, shedding some light, hopefully, to inspire some of these guys out here to just stay the course. You can do some crazy things naturally. Like, I know, without a doubt, I know some cats they look good naturally, man. And what's wrong with looking the way that you can look? In the world we live in, with not getting the plastic surgery, but plastic surgery, PEDs, all these things, it's like you don't even know how you could look. If you start things too early, you don't know where you could be potential wise. And I think I have potential. I think a lot of people out there, they have potential. Just stay the course, man. Just put in the work, do the research, and just do all the right things that can lead you down a right path. And I'm not shaming PEDs at all. I know plenty of people that use them. I'm just not one of those guys. And I think that a lot of people should go that route, man. I think it's a good route to go. I know it doesn't get as much publicity and all this other stuff. And, the freakier you look, the more followers you get, stuff like that. But I'd be hard pressed to see people with better conditioning than the men's physique guys at Worlds, or even the bodybuilding guys. Right. I mean, those guys are razor sharp, man.
Yeah, natural.
And they're natural.
Yep.
So
sound advice, Justin. Sound advice. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Hudson. Justin, I wanted to thank you for your time, your dedication to natural bodybuilding. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2020 INBF Carolina Natural PC Men's Physique Runner-Up Tall Class, Justin Hudson. Until next time, take care, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Natural PC Network. If you've enjoyed this conversation, be sure to share it with your friends and family. You can join our community at NaturalPC on Instagram and connect with us by email, info@naturalpc.org. Thank you for making us part of your day and for listening. Until next time, be good.